Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on a technology that's so important, yet completely invisible: the cloud. It literally powers almost everything we do online, so let's figure out what it actually is. I mean, think about it. You're streaming movies, you're saving your photos, you're collaborating with your team on documents. All of that is happening in the cloud. But what is this invisible force that runs so much of our digital lives? Let's break it down. Okay, so first things first. To really get it, we need a solid foundational definition. What exactly are we talking about when we all say the cloud? At its core, it's actually way simpler than it sounds. Think of it just like the electricity in your house. You don't have a giant power generator spinning in your basement, right? Of course not. You just plug into the wall and tap into this massive shared power grid. The cloud is that, but for computing. It's a power grid for servers, storage, and software that you access over the internet whenever you need it. So, why is this such a total game changer? Well, it all comes down to agility and efficiency. For any business, instead of buying and maintaining tons of expensive servers, they can just rent exactly what they need. And this massive global scale means providers can offer incredible power for a fraction of the cost. It's how even a tiny startup can compete with the giants. But here's the thing, the cloud isn't just one single thing. Services are typically delivered in three main ways, and you've probably heard their acronyms thrown around: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. So let's take a quick look at what each one actually means. Okay, to make this easy, let's use a food analogy. First up, you have infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. This is like renting a professional kitchen. You get the ovens, the space, the plumbing, all the raw infrastructure. The good part? You have total control. The catch? You have to bring all your own ingredients and do all the cooking yourself. Now, one step up from that is platform as a service, or PaaS. This is kind of like a meal kit delivery service. They provide the prepped ingredients and the recipe. So in the tech world, that's the tools, the databases, which means you can skip all the boring prep and focus on the creative part: cooking the meal, or in this case, writing your application's code. And finally, there's software as a service, SaaS, which is the one most of us use every single day. This is simple. It's like ordering takeout. The meal arrives fully cooked and ready to eat. You just open the app in your browser, think Google Docs or Spotify, and you just use it. No cooking, no cleanup. So what's the real takeaway here? Well, it's a pretty simple trade-off. As you move up the stack from IaaS to SaaS, you give up some of that fine-grained control. But in return, you hand off more and more of the management and maintenance to the provider. It's all about choosing between total control and total convenience. So we know the what, but what about the where? Cloud services can actually be deployed in three different models. First, you have the public cloud. Think of big names like AWS or Google Cloud. The best way to think about this is like living in a big apartment building. You share the overall infrastructure with all the other tenants. On the flip side, a private cloud is like owning your own house. The entire space is dedicated just to you, which gives you way more control and privacy. And then, of course, there's the hybrid cloud, which, as the name suggests, tries to give you the best of both worlds. It connects public and private clouds together. This lets a business keep its most sensitive data safe in their private house while still using the massive cost-effective power of the public apartment building for other jobs. It's all about flexibility. But really, how does any of this actually work on such an unbelievable scale? What's going on down in the engine room? Well, the incredible performance of the cloud isn't magic, even though it sometimes feels like it. It's really built on two core principles of high-performance computing that have been around for decades. First up is parallel computing. Now, the key here is that this all happens inside a single computer. A big task gets broken down into smaller pieces, and multiple processors within that one machine all work on those pieces at the same time to get the job done much, much faster. Now, distributed computing takes that exact same idea and just blows it up to a global scale. Instead of using multiple processors in one machine, it uses multiple machines, often spread all over the world. They're all networked together to act like one single giant supercomputer. And this is the fundamental architecture that makes the cloud possible. So here's the crucial difference. Let's nail it down. Parallel computing is like having multiple workers all inside one factory. Distributed computing is like having multiple factories, all in different cities, working together on the same project. One is tightly connected inside one system, the other is loosely connected across a network. Okay, let's bring this all together. With all this complexity floating around, how does anyone actually choose the right cloud solution for what they're trying to do? Well, it turns out that choosing a cloud provider isn't just a tech decision, it's a huge business decision. You have to think like a CEO. Can I trust them with my data? Is this service going to grow with my company, or am I going to get stuck? And critically, in a world of complex data laws, just asking, where does my data physically live, can be one of the most important questions of all. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Today's entire digital world runs on these massive distributed cloud systems. But as our needs for data and processing just continue to explode, what new architecture is going to come next to define our future?